anything that lasts 60 years, it's got to be something more than just a race car series. I think there's a passion.
You're not just bringing the past out to people. It's not a retrospective. These are still evolving, amazing machines out there. But this series doesn't apologize for what it is. It's not trying to be anything else. It's definitely one of a kind, and I think you've got to celebrate it because it's got a real sense of self-awareness, and it's got a lot to celebrate.
It was an all-American thing. It's been a place where people could carry ideas that were not accepted other places.
Time sort of moved away from the theory of Trans Am of build your own car, build your own parts, build your own engine, no homologation. Long as it fits within these rules, you can bring it to the track and run it. If you come up with a problem on Friday, you can solve it with a new part on Saturday if you want. And then you look at how much power they're generating, the level of downforce now. It is such an attractive engineering exercise.
Great drivers have passed through here, great teams. And they don't come through as like, it's not just a way station. I mean, this is destination top tier racing. And it's been going on for 60 years. And I think we've got to celebrate that because not a lot of other race series have had that kind of durability. And I think a lot of that comes down to the passion that the entrants and the fans and the promoters, thankfully, have always supported.
Sebring is so famous and iconic. When you drive in and cross over the bridge and cross over the track and down into the paddock, it just brings all the memories back of all the great racing that's taken place there.
All you have to do is go back to the first race weekend, 60 years ago. A.J. Foyt was on the pole in a Mustang, and Bob Tullius and Tony Adamowicz won the race in a Dodge Dart. And that was the first race of kind of an experiment, right? And you look back over the years at the people who've come here and won and dominated and made a name for themselves here. And some who moved on to other things, Wally Dallenbach as an example. It's exciting to see the brand still alive and going, and the new energy that's being pumped into it. It's fun.
We can just kind of walk it over and then just hold it up like this and say, here's a memento to remember the 2025 season. Right. Hold it up, go like this.
We gotta get on the ladder. It's been a part of American car culture for going on 60 years now.
I think we found a spot that will probably go somewhere up here on the wall. So he has a memory from a great season, 2025.
Yeah, this is awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, very welcome.
I was eyeballing this at the banquet, so luckily I have a wall big enough for it.
Absolutely.
To be a champion is obviously a big deal to me personally and professionally, and now we're two-time champions, and I'm doing it with the best team out there with Paul Gentilozzi and his group.
Yeah, 60 years, that's a long time. And not unlike in other forms of racing, there's the roller coaster of manufacturer support and entries, popularity.
Think about how much has changed in the world to still have a formula that in essence is the same as it was during the Lyndon Johnson administration. There's very few sports where there's that continuity. And I think that's a testament to how exciting the cars are, how understandable, relatable the general concept is, 100-mile sprint races, and just the durability and the iconography of the American muscle car.
My dad started running in the 90s, late 90s, so we've been with Trans Am ever since then. So I think his first race was 1996. So fast forward to 2026, and that's how long we've been here.
I worked for Roush in 1984, cleaning wheels on Willie T's car and Greg Pickett's car, and then we started building cars ourselves, in the 90s, and had a great time there with Scott Sharp, Jack Bowen, Ron Fellows, Dorsey, George Robinson, all those guys. So it's nice that it kind of goes within waves, and I think hopefully we're on another wave here.
I won my first championship in the 50th anniversary year, and the 50th anniversary year was really cool because it was the longest road racing series, and and Trans Am did a great job, of marketing that and how long we've been around. So another 10 years fast forward, I'm surprised I'm still here and plugging away at it. So it's really cool to be in both the 50th and 60th year and running of it.
All of the drivers and the teams and the cars, it's really important to not forget about that. And yeah, we don't need to live in the past, but part of the spirit of Trans Am were those competitors with those teams and their drive to do it. And that's in a lot of ways what made Trans Am so successful.
It's still here. Let's hope it's here to stay.
You're like, wow, this is incredible. 60 years.
I think the time is now to not only get in the series, but to give it the coverage that I think it deserves. In terms of how hard the drivers drive. How hard the manual labor is on these cars and the people who care about it. Also how good and entertaining the racing is. I think all of those things stacked up with how the cars sound as well, which I think is so important.
Yeah, when I've been around talking to people in the paddock at drivers' meeting, you can tell that the off-season is short because you've got the holidays mixed into the off-season, but everybody's kind of itching to get back out there. Everybody's kind of trying new things. They've slept on it. They've dreamt about new things they want to try. So everybody seems to be very excited to be here.
The nice part for me coming to a track for the first time this season, I can reflect on when I would show up to the track with massive ambition of the year of trying to dominate and win races and get a championship. I actually now enjoy seeing that in the faces of our returning drivers.
In my mind, it's another season and another championship to go out and execute as perfectly as possible. We're not perfect, we're humans, we're all human. We all bleed the same red blood. We gotta find some speed. Talked about the gold banner in the shop. I want to get myself one of those gold banners.
The goal, the energy of the entire team right now is to push forward, to give it 5,000%, and I could see that.
I want to give this a shot and get this car right on this set, and then we'll be in business.
When it comes to racing, no matter what equipment we have, no matter who we're with, I always want to be the best. I want our team to be the best. I want our car to be the best. I've never seen any other way.
Second place in Pro-Am. He was running with the camera in the car. Ladies and gentlemen, get really loud. Cale Phillips, come on now. Running with Nitro Motorsports.
Yeah, it seems like there's never enough time. No matter how long the off season is, it always seems short. We were just down there a month ago, had a good test, and then, you want to come back and apply all the things you learned at the test, do some things with the car, and especially my car is getting a whole new body on it, so that can take a lot of time, but guys are doing a good job, and we'll be ready to go. Growing up in athletics and basketball, and I still have that competitive side, so you don't want to be just out there just riding around. You want something to fight for, and Pro-Am's definitely given me that.
Our confidence at the end of the season there, just like how I felt with the car and how I felt around the other drivers in the series, and just being used to it.
Okay, I got some air there. I hope you guys saw that. Yep, sure did.
I wasn't flat, but I was near flat. I turned in and just hit it, and it went boom.
Like when you hop into one of these things from Regatta, it's quite a big jump in horsepower, grip, and everything. So it was just adjusting to that, and then Going to some tracks I knew right there at the end of the year and just being confident and knowing I was going to be fast and going into the races. So I think that was a big help.
But overall, like, felt good. Felt sporty.
It's really neat to see it in the faces of new drivers.
I want to take a lot of information. Like, I kind of want to just be a sponge for the first couple races, just like learn what it's all about, like the racing, how other people drive. I have some high expectations. I hold myself to a very high standard, so I'm hoping I can just meet those requirements for me. Sit. Good boy. Oh. Come here, this way. The thing is, I'm scared with him, because either he gets the treat or he gets your finger. What you want to do for the first weekend, and they can't stress it enough, it's just learning. Don't put anything in jeopardy, you're just learning and taking it all in from everybody.
I think we've got 4 drivers that are under 18. We've got another 4 drivers that are under 20 that are all under the DOP program right now. And I think we've got another 6 or 7 drivers that are coming into the series. So it's a good testing ground for them to actually understand, first of all, what a TA2 car is and driving it. And secondly, getting the opportunity to actually drive here at Sebring, which is a very different track to everything else that we drive around the country.
You don't have that problem if you're braking all the way to center and then center off, you're on throttle, you know what I mean? I have a lot of in between because I don't know exactly how hard to drive it.
You see it with Kyle Larson, you know, driving a sprint car and then getting in an Indy car. You know, there's not a bit of racing that you shouldn't do to learn, you know what I mean? Whether it be a Civic or a NASCAR, an F1 car, you know, if you can get in it and you can go drive it, if you can go adapt to it, it's all going to help in the long run. It's all beneficial for your own talent.
You have to drive it where you want to put it, you know what I mean? Like where the ARCA stuff is, you have to be really patient with the car, that you've got to put it there with this stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
they feel balanced left to right.
Yep, yeah, brakes feel good.
You know what it is I'm still braking early and then I go back for it. I'm not giving it enough to start with. And then it's like this two pump thing.
Yeah.
So I need to do what I'm doing here for 7 and commit and then let it trail off.
These cars seem so raw and so ragged. They're so crude in comparison to like a GT3 car, but it takes so much more work and it has to be that much more perfect to drive it fast.
But I need to get my comfort level to the point where like I'm comfortable rotating the car, moving around a little bit more.
This is what makes a good driver. Like, I can't wait to do a season or 2 of Trans Am. It will make me such a better driver to do this. I never did Spec Miata. That's one of the things I wish I had done, because like the way I see this is like Spec Miata on crack.
Every driver that you speak to, whether they are, you know, youngest driver from 14 or 15-year-old in this series, all the way up to the veterans that are in their, you know, late 50s, early 60s, love the Trans Am car. It's a car that is just raw power. It doesn't have any of the you know, ABS systems or traction control, etc. And you've got to really know and understand driving. So anybody that actually gets into one of these cars, walks out of this car, and with a smile on their face going, that was phenomenal. This is the best car I've ever driven. Whether it be a pure Trans Am car with over 900 brake horsepower or a TA2 car that's 450, 500 brake horsepower, they love it.
I just like to go out there and drive fast and put it all on the line. You know, I'm not really thinking about how do I make the series or promote the series better in the background on the business sense myself. But I mean, just getting the product in front of eyes is going to really help. I mean, obviously we put on some awesome races out there. The first race I had in the series with Ernie Francis, you know, we had a last lap battle. We were side by side, we were pushing each other off the track. And it came down to the last corner, and I just felt like if you could just put that in front of young faces on the internet or just promote it well and get it, you just get it out there to the American community, I think it's just going to take off, because the content and the highlights and the racing is perfect. You don't need to touch that. It's just getting in front of people, and once people see that, it's just going to be hard to look away.
If you think about the formula, it's old school. Technology moves every day, and it moves forward every day. But Trans Am is old school. No ABS. No traction control. You're still taking your hand off the steering wheel to shift the car. got something that some drivers in other top series keep asking for, which is more horsepower.
Just the pure enjoyment of driving them. I mean, it's rare that you get this much horsepower these days in such a fun car to drive. The tires are massive, fire breathing. It's refreshing almost, coming from all the other racing series I do, to come in and do something like this.
It's all here, and it's all about the driver, and that's really cool. It's old school, and that's fun.
I enjoy Trans Am for a ton of reasons. Number one, it's how I started, and so I have a huge connection with the history of it, and kind of, you know, I've seen so much of those cars, and then went away and got a chance to come back to them and really appreciate a Trans Am car for what it is, which is a spectacular mutant.
There's a rawness to this that I think is super applicable to other levels of motorsport, that is going to be one of the best teaching tools out there. You know, on the TA side, we're inviting veterans from all over the place. I want young guns in here and veterans. We've got an awesome pool of vets. I want to see more young guns coming in here. That is a lot of car. That is a lot of car to give to someone to be responsible for over a 100-mile race. It's the highest horsepower road racing cars right now in North America. There's nothing that's normally aspirated that is making anything near what these guys are doing, and then we take away all their driver aids.
Race cars should scare you, and Trans Am cars are one of the few that truly scare you. I'll admit there's times I'm a bit scared, but then you overcome that fear, and that's the part that's rewarding, is that you're overcoming your personal fears.
I kind of like to show our in-car videos, especially to people who run GT3 cars, who are certain that that's the best car on the planet, with the ABS and the traction control and all the stuff that happens there. You kind of lay that card down that says, I've got 900 horsepower and no driver aids. Who wants to drive this one? And believe me, every GT3 driver shoots their hand up. We did a test at VIR, and it was a mix of Trans Am cars and GT3 cars. And we're going, through the S's. Paul's running through the S's at VIR, and one of the GT3 cars is behind him, flashing his lights. Oh, you're slowing me down. You're going to ruin this entire run. Paul gets to the straightaway and is gone. Like, by the time the straightaway was over, I don't even know that he could have seen the guy flashing his lights. That's the sort of energy that comes from a Trans Am car.
Trans Am should be taking every opportunity it can to be waving to the world, letting them know we're still here, we still care, we're still racing hard, and that we're different from, we're this in-between between like NASCAR and high-tech sports car racing.
Maybe we at Trans Am have been too shy about shouting at people over how good the category is, over how fun the cars are, over the fact that there is no homologation. No one's gonna ask to see your paperwork. If you win 2 races in a row, BOP is not gonna change. Nothing's gonna change. We're gonna go back out and we're gonna race again. And if the person you beat 2 races in a row feels like they need to do something to make their car better, good, do it. Let's see what happens. That is the real magic of Trans Am, and that's what we've got to tell people about.
Every time I talk to one of these real young drivers, teenagers that are here racing these full-size beasts of cars, I think of Dale Jarrett, the NASCAR Hall of Famer, who, in his day, you couldn't start driving a race car till you had an actual driver's license. And it took till you were in your 30s before you could make the top level of say, NASCAR.
When you get to that level and you end up with talent fairly equal to each other, even the ones that, when I say they had that little standout talent, now there's a handful of them that had that standout talent. Now they got to beat each other. how do you do that? How, what is in the makeup, or how do you carry it to that next level?
I feel like that's one of the hardest things about the sport is the fact that there's no guarantee and there's no promise that you're going to make it to the next level. Do everything that you can inside and outside of the car, whether that's continuing to really focus on the data that you're looking at, or the media part of it, or being in the seat in general, and everything comes together and everything is so important. And if you can do the best that you can and you're really taking advantage of every situation that you're in and you leave no question on the table that you're doing all the right things, then if you make it or you don't, at least you have that sense of I did what I could. I did everything that I could to give myself that opportunity to make it to the next level, even if it is a situation where you don't make it.
Going up in the ladder system, you will most likely find it more and more difficult. And if you do not have results to back up the moment where you might not be at your best, it would take a lot longer for you to achieve your goals and your dreams. So I always tell people, win a go-kart, win it at whatever level that you want to be, but win. I have done this and this and this in my career. I'm working to achieve this goal and this other goal, not a bunch of excuses why you have not done or what you're planning to do. Because at the end, when you arrive there at the top, results matter.
I want to add on to Helium Mez's day here real quick, Ralph. Carson Quaffle last year had the track record at a 2:10.459. His best time, a 2:10 flat.
When I saw Nathan Hearn catching me, the team actually came on the radio to tell me, kind of conserve my stuff a little bit. And I think I over-conserved, and he caught me by a lot. And I also caught a lapper in the S's, which I think I lost a lot of time. I don't know exactly what it was, but it cut down my gap to half in one lap. And so I remember Nathan caught me, he got around me, and I was like, well, I'm happy with P2 if it ends like this, right? And then he had the fuel issue or the fuel injector pump issue, and I got around him, and I was like, man, there's a good chance we're gonna bring this home. And I remember taking the white flag, and I was just taking it easy that last lap. I crossed the line. I was like, it was a pretty unbelievable moment.
Well, now with the go-karts and everything, and the whole world has changed so much, these kids are coming to TA2 at 15, 16 years old, but they've been racing for 10 years.
I feel like I've grown up so quick. I feel like racing has made me be older than I actually am. I'm 19 years old, but sometimes I feel like I'm 25. I feel like just racing ages you so quickly, especially when you're in it for so long. And I've been in it for 9 years now, and I just feel like it's aged me. It's made me be older. It's made me do things that I'm uncomfortable with. It's made me go out and have to shake sponsors' hands of people I've never met before, and just speak to so many different people. So it's really crazy what kind of sport we do, and how different it is from the typical sport.
One of the big stories of the off-season, and Andy Lally, the Trans Am president who's now been here a year, was very adamant about, let's take the TA2 cars into a wind tunnel with the OEMs and the different car manufacturers, chassis, with all the teams, total transparency.
There were a lot of pieces to the puzzle that had to come together, that my technical team and then the input that we were getting from the experts at our OEMs at Toyota, GM, and Ford were coming forward with a lot of information that we had to digest, and in a way that we were going to test these cars and come up with a way to be as equal as we can.
I think part of this is about transparency. I know for the organization, for Trans Am, it's about transparency, wanting to make sure that people see they're not hiding, not cooking the books or doctoring the information.
Yeah, I think transparency is key when it comes to rules, when it comes to product development. And one of the biggest strides that we made was the wind tunnel tests with the Camry body, Ford body, Chevrolet body. We really had to see who had an advantage, if there was any, and make sure it's as equal as possible.
I think the information that we gathered was good for all the manufacturers, and it was good for the series and the competitors because of the fact of there's been so much misconceptions out there about which manufacturer was better, which one needed help. So it allowed them to make a decision that was, it was more of an educated guess instead of just a guess.
So basically trying to establish parity across the TA2 series with the different manufacturers. So you've got Ford Mustangs, Chevy Camaros, Toyota Camrys. They've never been to the wind tunnel together, so there's always a question amongst the competitors of who's got the better car, and am I at a disadvantage because I'm driving a particular car versus somebody else. So this is just a chance to get everybody together, all in the tunnel at the same time, check and see how the cars compare, generate some data and make some data-driven decisions as opposed to all the speculation that happens out in the paddock.
For us, as Toyota as a manufacturer, we want a level playing field in anything that we're in. It's part of what we would expect from any series that we get into. So conceptually, this is the right thing to do.
We wanted to get to a point where we were just getting everything closer, getting the plots on our graph closer and closer and closer so that our cars were that much more equal. And we probably condensed the information that we have to make it to where we're 300% closer than we were before.
Certainly what we're used to is give everybody the same chance to win and then let them sort that out.
Parity is always a challenge because there are so many factors that go into the actual on-track performance, right? You've got the base performance of the vehicle, which aerodynamics is a component of that, but you've also got the chassis setup, you've got tire management, you've got a number of factors, as well as then the level of preparation at the team, funding, driver talent, there's all sorts of things, experience across the driver, the crew chief.
If you're trying to keep the cars close, then you've got to do the research. And that's the one wind tunnel test is not enough.
We're very used to the NASCAR process, and the NASCAR process over the last 20 years has, everybody probably doesn't give it as much credit as because it's happened slowly, but if you look back, it's massively robust now compared to what it was, and we come in and look at this and it's very young.
Fortunately, we got much more help than I actually thought we were going to get on the OEM side, and the participation level was probably rivaled that of anything that we've had for OEM participation in decades. Having a lot of really great minds and high-level guys from their wind tunnel programs having input actually made it easier. Instead of potential conflict and drama and whatnot, you had working relationships that had been existing for many, many years come together in something that they do day in and day out on the NASCAR side.
The most difficult part is when you've got 3 different cars and you're trying to run them through the wind tunnel and keep everything exactly the same, because everybody has a different opinion what exactly the same is.
Trying to establish parity and separate out those things that are within the series control versus things that are at the team control is one of the challenges. And here we're trying to generate some of that data to look at just the aerodynamic performance piece of that parity equation and make sure that particular aspect of parity is pretty close.
It feels like we're going to see that we don't have all the information, which is expected, and this is not a one and done kind of thing. This is the start of a journey that I think and hope that they're on to make this a series that anybody that does want to come in the future will feel like they've got the same chance that the rest of the folks do.
And I think everybody had the same goal, that we really were trying to achieve the correct numbers so that we could make a decision that was not just good for one manufacturer, but good for the whole series.
Just make the rules. Give me the rules. I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Heck with all this arguing. Let's go racing. You know, so whatever they put in front of me, we're going to figure it out and do our best to make it the best we can.
I have a big desire. It doesn't have to be the OEM's padding the pockets of the series to make this series successful. I want the OEMs to back some of our drivers, to put some driver development into that for me is the biggest win of all. One of the main reasons I'm here at Trans Am is to pay it forward and to help this program go good. And when we do that and we do that right, these fields grow.
That's why we're here today, and that's why we started in this series at the beginning of 2025, was because it is a place that we have used historically to put some of our younger development drivers in, and it's really difficult for us to have them in a car that's not a Toyota, and then try to leverage that in a commercial or marketing space as a Toyota path to get there. So that's why I think this made sense to us to get involved.
Good horsepower, but not too much. Good downforce, but not too much. Good racing, tight racing, and like I said, there's tire management, there's horsepower management. It's a very good opportunity for us to evaluate drivers and help teach and coach them to the next steps in their career.
When people considering TA see that there's OEM participation and that they care and that they're putting drivers in this thing, they know that this is, it's just one extra, support bit of vote of confidence, essentially, that this is a great place to be, a great place to learn how to race stock cars on road courses.
How are you?
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, I know.
Have fun.
Thank you. Honestly, like 3 to 4 years ago, I knew nothing about road racing. I got in the Corvette for the first time and absolutely loved road racing. And then from there, I got to see the other cars in the pit area. And obviously, the TA cars are the biggest and baddest cars in the, at the track. So it's always been, something I've wanted to do since I knew road racing was a thing, was get in the biggest and fastest car.
Put it on the line, I'ma risk it all. My feet on fire, on my fists I go. Orders on my mind is where I wish to go. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I sat in the car at Mid-Ohio, and I've wanted to race it for a while, to be honest. Like, getting in the car, it made you realize how real it could be. So luckily, Ponto Weaver Racing Concepts, and all the guys gave me a really bad fast car and really helped me get to comfort level and get used to the car. It's obviously a big jump from Corvette that has 700-ish horsepower to 850 horsepower. That's a huge jump. So the guys have done an awesome job helping me get comfortable. People say I'm an adrenaline junkie. So maybe I just like the adrenaline and, the fun, the feeling you get inside whenever you've got 850 horsepower underneath you and you're in control of it. It's an unreal feeling. I mean, it's addicting.
You can't judge a book by its cover with Kaylee. She is a badass racer. TA cars are absolute monsters. And I would be very apprehensive of anybody her age, boy or girl doesn't matter, to get into a TA car. But not her.
Pinteric was over here saying, hey, happy to have you. Is he saying happy to have you, or like you have no idea what you're getting into?
Probably a little bit of both. Everybody's been super nice to me moving up to the TA class, everybody that drives TA cars. So they've all given me lots of advice and asked if I need anything to come talk to them. This is obviously a really big step, but glad we're getting to practice. So I got a lot to figure out today. It's fast. That's one thing. I gotta get the slow speed stuff down, but it's easy to hold it wide open. I mean, this car's extremely fast, so just learning today and getting used to it, but this thing's awesome to drive.
She's just getting acclimated and getting used to the shifter, the sequential, and it's a first time in a big car, and braking issues that these bigger cars have. Got to be real aggressive with that. And I think she did a wonderful job. She brought her times down as the practice went on, and I think she'll do much better as she goes on, and I think she's having a lot of fun too.
I'm pretty hard on myself because I want to be at the level everybody else is at. So if I'm not there, I've got stuff to work on, and I've had really awesome people in my corner, and Boris said, and Paul Menard, who's driven this car before, texting me videos and giving me advice, and helps me a lot. coming into a new car that I've never been in and trying to get up to their speeds as quick as possible whenever they've been doing it for several years. You got a lot to learn really quick.
Once she feels comfortable in the car, and I mean mentally and physically, she did not fit in the car. They were putting pillows back there, so which means you're not fully strapped in. She didn't feel comfortable with how she could reach the pedals and things like that because it truly was just a test.
Well, you got to be patient. They're monsters underneath all that. You know, they're close to 900 horsepower now. We got 14 inches of rear rubber on the rear and 13 in the front, so they get an awful lot of grip. And it's hard to know really what the boundaries of the car are.
What's up, guys? Sam Corey, driver of the number 70 Nitro Motorsports Trans Am TA2 car. Nice to see you. I hated that. That was terrible. I'm gonna do that again. That was awful. I hear those things from some people of, you know, the championship and, who the top drivers are, or who's in contention to do it and to go out and win. And, in my mind, I'm set on, I'm gonna go win. The confidence comes from my preparation. In my mind, I've done everything possible to rock up to the racetrack in the, best way and frame of mind that I can.
All roads, no maps, like the back of my hand. So catch me if you
can. I feel that racing is more so a mental sport than a physical one. Granted, it's physical, it's hard, it's tough on the body. I mean, 100%. That's 100% the case. But I think it's even more mental. And showing up to the racetrack with that kind of confidence and swagger, going into the weekend can be very, it can change your weekend, right? So you show up to the race, and if you come off a 2-race win streak and you rock up, I'm gonna win this weekend. I mean, I'm the best guy out here. It's you have to think like that.
Now you know where I came from. All roads, no maps, like the back of my hand. So catch me if you can.
I think before the season starts, when you're strictly looking at stats, I think the only mega standout right now is Sam. Specifically, I look to certain points in the season for either one, sometimes there's a great pass that sticks in your mind, and then sometimes there's a situational awareness where it was a low risk shot.
Sam Corey is showing that this was my race. I'm coming to bring this one home.
When you're second in the championship, I've been there. You're this close. You're the next step to that, and there's a bunch of what ifs, what if, shoulda, woulda, coulda moments in there. But then he also had massive displays of talent. Like his battle with Annunziata at Lime Rock was epic, was amazing. I was in the tower watching as a fan, and then also as a friend, like, man, that's crazy, don't screw that up. And then he would go for something that was so aggressive and wanted it so bad. And did it at a precision in the rain that was obviously beating everybody else, and had to work through one of the hardest guys to pass on one of the hardest tracks to pass. And that's even more like Lime Rock's pain in the neck to make a clean pass at. And then you add the rain into that, and it was phenomenal. It was a super well-deserved win, and probably something that I know if that was me, that day, that moment, that feeling of being in the zone like that, performing like that, and then especially under pressure for the win, and then coming through, that sticks with you. That is wind in your sails for seasons.
You're jumping into a fight with a huge dude and you're thinking, well, I can't beat this guy. You're probably gonna get beat. If you think, oh, I can take this guy, even if you can't, you might have a chance. So it's just mental, it's keeping that mentality and being positive and working hard. But it comes back to preparation.
I said last year that he would probably be potentially a championship contender. I think he's probably one of the top drivers, if not the top driver, that could win the championship next year. He's an individual that is all-rounded. He is the full package in terms of his mentality away from the track, in terms of the amount of training he does, whether it be in the gym or on simulators, to the way in which he brands himself, the way in which he does his social media programs, etc. He's all over it.
All right, everybody, Connor Zilic is giving us speed secrets here.
Trying not
I'm going
to.
to have to rewatch this.
Yeah, not trying to dump too much.
Sebring for me last year was one to forget, that's for sure. I think going back there, it's okay, it's time to lay it down right away and get the season off with a good start. You show up, you win, it makes a statement, and that's what we're trying to do is make a statement right out of the gate.
I think this is going to be a transition year for the series with Racing America coming on board, a new brand identification here, media opportunity, and they're really going to push this series to the next level. And that's what I am excited about. That's what Cube 3 is excited about, is taking the Trans Am TA2 series to a different level around the United States. It is watched very closely by many teams and many drivers around the United States, if not around the world. But I think this year will be very different. I think elevating the profile with Racing America and being able to see the opportunities for future drivers to come into the series, future partners to arrive here. I think over the not only last 3 years, but over the last 5 years, running drivers as well, from where Evan Slater started out when he was 14 or 15 years old and has now got a full ride. You start looking at people like Nathan Hearn, that's doing well in the Australian world, and now Noah Harmon is another example of somebody that's going to do well. I think in terms of the racing series itself, has progressed dramatically. I think in terms of what Racing America is the brand right now, in terms of how they're elevating the young driver program, other racing series are really not doing what we do in that young driver program. When you start looking at a driver that's Tristan McKee last year, who started out at 14, ended up 15 at the end of the series, and won the championship, that really shows what this series is about today. And I think the message for any future drivers that want to get into racing in the United States, I think this is one of the series that should be very closely looked at, and people should come here and join.